SMF Pro Traders are going to take a look at what we did and how we did it. And basically, if you go back and look at our other videotapes on our website, you're welcome to do so. We went short the S&P buying the 1150 put options. On the week ending 131 in that very first week of February, but that Friday there, this was on a Friday low, that we said that we put a volatility low in, and we've come all the way back up to the neckline. In those other videotapes, we said that when we broke below the 10-week moving average for 4 weeks, that this trend was in a bear reversal, and how right we were. When we got down to the bottom, we talked about in those particular tapes, go to stockmarketfunding.com and you can find them, is that the 10-week moving average started to descend a little bit here, and you had 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks below the 10-week moving average. Not to mention you got below the 20-week. And as I said in those tapes, and as I will say today, in order for this to confirm a new bull trend, I will have to have 4 consecutive weeks closing price above the 10-week moving average, and that's going up. That's going to the right. And that stockmarketfunding.com over a 30-year period developed its own proprietary bull and bear market trends with weekly charts, or any chart for that matter. And there is a criteria that has to be met. And when we came down on heavy volume and we had the 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks closing below that 10-week moving average, that meant that we were in a bear reversal. Just like over here, when we were putting the market bottom in a week last year in March, we called this bottom here. But here's the thing: the 10-week quit descending, quit going down. It flattened out, and you had 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks above that 10-week. That meant that there was a new bull trend that was being born right there, and we called that, and we went long these markets all the way up. But here's the important thing of it is that during this phase, that 10-week kept rising all the time, and that 20-week, the 10-week crossed above. That's the bull was born. 4 weeks above the 10-week. The 10-week, where it was in 2008 and going into 2009, it quit going down. It had to flatten out. You got to be flat on that 10-week. It can't keep going down, and you had to close above it. And we had that great bull run, and we call that way. Now, let's take a look at the current cycle of that bear reversal back to a potential bull move. Is that I've got, technically, right now, that body was narrow range on negative volume, but it counts. And I've got to have 4 weeks above the blue line. Right there, 10-week moving average. And as long as that happens, and it's not pointing down any longer, like it started to descend right here, and you were below it. Now we're looking at the opposite side of what can happen. And basically, even if we pull back a little bit and that 10-week starts to go upward, and I can maintain a 4-week closing price above that blue line, that 10-week moving average, and that 10-week moving average starts to roll up over the next couple of weeks or several weeks, and we close above it, then that means that the S&P, we would say at that point in time that we would be entering a bull breakout trend, meaning that we worked off that correction. That was the bear reversal of that longer trend. And basically the characteristics here is that, once again, that 10-week, I've got to have 4 weeks closing price above it. I'm not getting nearly the up volume right over here toward the top as I was the selling volume on the way down. And that's what the weekly chart looks like. We've got a weekly crossover here, which is bullish. When we had that correction that we called over here, that weekly crossover, that percent DS crossed over that percent DA, and down the hill we went. Well, now we flattened out on that indicator here. That's that blue line called percent DS. And another thing about this, people, as an update, is that we were 92.2% overbought on a weekly. And the minute that I started getting that downtick, and the next week I shot up and tested that high with heavy volume, I said, look, that's the beginning of the reversal, and we bought the put option immediately now. And we crossed over here. When that weekly crossed over and went down, the black line moves very slow. Percent DA, that's this one. And we were too overbought. The market was totally overbought from the 2009 run going into the new year. So we had that bear pullback, and now we have what we call the beginning of a bull trend setup. I've got to have more of a closing price. Another thing that I would like to see here, people, is that half of this is called the SMF Pro Trader weekly bar. And what I need to see here is that I can consolidate half of that bar on this upside, not below it, because that means that the pullback will be strong, and we would want to go from that point. We do not want to see any pullback go below half of this weekly bar. Because if you go below half of the weekly bar, that means that the trend is potentially, or would potentially be now, in a reversal. Trends are weaker when they're below half of our criteria bars. It's called the SMF Pro Trader bar. Whether it's a weekly bar, monthly, 60 minutes, doesn't matter. What does matter is that the test of half of our bar here, weekly candle, the SMF weekly candle, Pro Trader bar, is that we would consolidate and we would bounce. Another thing that we have going is that just like when you went down the hill right here, you crossed over. The weekly is a very powerful crossover. And down the hill you went. And you worked off these blue bars. These are called MACD bars. And you got down here and you worked that overbought. You were just too overbought. And that's why we had to have a bear pullback. But now we're entering what we call, and we called that bottom right there. And we have it recorded live just like we're doing now. We called that bottom. It was on a Friday. This Friday, this will be 5 weeks ago. We kind of inched our way up. And as we cleared this area right here, we had that breakout. And basically, we will see if we can hold that, and we will, give more of an update. Right now, we would say we're having a new bull trend up. And I need more data to meet the SMF criteria, because the SMF criteria and bull and bear trends are always 100% accurate. So I'm not going to say that it's 100% bull trend yet until I get a little bit more data on what I pointed out on this chart. Thank you.